Hello, I'm Jeff Paur, senior writer with RealTime Fantasy Sports. Welcome to another edition of the RealTime Fantasy Sports Show. We're kicking off our top three series. We love to do these every year. We give you several different categories: breakouts, busts, rookies, you name it. But we're going to do a bunch of them this year, and we're excited to bring them to you on this Real-Time Fantasy Sports Show. And I'm going to be joined by Howard Bender today. We are going to do our top three busts for the coming season to kick off the top three series. Howard, how are you doing today?
Jeff, I'm telling you, man, I am doing real well. So happy to be here. I'm in tune with the RT sports community right now. I've been doing a lot of drafts with everybody, so I'm ready to start shelling out some busts. That's for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're in a draft on RT Sports right now, there's a chance you're in it with Howard. He's in a ton of them right now, and he's having a lot of fun, though.
It's a
Put him up.
blast, dude. What's that?
Yeah. I said, put him up, right? Put him up.
Right,
You're ready.
absolutely. Come on, it's fighting time.
Exactly. So let's get into these top three busts now, Howard. So we're each going to give you three players that we think might not live up to expectations this year. I will let you kick it off. Who is your first bust?
Oh, see, I love this because I'm gonna get a very strongly worded email from Big Fantasy who doesn't want me to be saying this, but Tank Dell, I got some issues with Tank Dell. I think where he's going right now, I'm looking at RT Sports current ADP, and they've actually RT is the one place where he's going in a reasonable spot, right? Like right around 82, 83 is the number. But I'm telling you, man, as you know, wide receiver 34 coming off the board, people don't really seem to understand. Bobby Slowick, he's got Andrew Beck, his fullback. He likes using two tight end sets. Bobby Slowick uses more two wide receiver sets than most other, offensive coordinators do. We've seen it. We saw it last year. Now they bring in Stephon Diggs. They pay Nico Collins. So when you're running two wide receiver sets, who's going to be the one who's going to sit? Is it Diggs? Is it Collins? No, it's going to be Tank Dell. I feel like he's an explosive guy and he will have some big games, but I don't think you're going to see nearly the consistency that you want from him. And I think that where he's going in drafts right now might be just a little bit too high for me there, Jeff.
Yeah, I think he's a scary proposition in your standard leagues where you're starting him every week. I definitely think he could be boomer bust on a weekly basis. So I kind of agree with you there, Howard. And I think our community has done well with that ADP as well. I think that was a very good view to point out there. All right. I'll give you one of my busts, and it's Tony Pollard. So he signed big contract with the Titans to replace Derrik Henry or try to replace him, but I just don't have a lot of expectations for him this year with Tajay Spears there. I think they're similar players. I think Spears is the better of the two. Pollard averages 4.0 yards per carry last year. He had 8 games with fewer than double-digit fantasy points, so kind of like we think Dell could be this year. I think he could be boomer bust. If I'm going to take one of the two Titans backs, I'm going to take Spears. I just think I trust him there. I think he has more chance to boom on a weekly basis. And I just don't have a lot of faith in Pollard. So he's my first bust, Howard.
I agree with you that they're very similar players. Like that's, and I agree with you also that Tajay Spears is probably the better of the two. My only concern and the only reason that I worry so much about this being such a split backfield that's just going to siphon the value out of, both guys is that, Brian Callahan comes in, he brings Mike Holes, his offensive coordinator now, and they brought in Tony Pollard, right? You always wonder
Yeah.
when there's a coaching change or a coordinator change that, the incumbent, this isn't the guy that they drafted. So they did go out and get Tony Pollard. So I do worry that is going to be a little bit of a 50-50 split here. I agree with you that I'm not interested in Pollard. I'd much rather go with Tajay.
Yeah, give me another one of your busts, Howard. Who else do you have on your
Oh,
list?
listen, yeah, please. I am the thorn in big fantasy side right now. Rashad White. And by the way, I got to shout out to my buddy Doug Orth for the big fantasy moniker there. I don't want to not footnote him there. Rashad White. I mean, listen, last year he was a top 5 running back for fantasy purposes. For reality purposes, a little bit different of a story here. He finished 40th in yards per carry, right? 18th in yards after contact, 35th in broken tackles. Those underlying metrics, not great. And the reason that he popped last year was strictly because of the volume, right? They were like, Chase Edmonds, forget that. We'll just keep rolling out Rashad White over and over again. We'll make him that every down back. And in Canales' offensive scheme, which is run first and let it set up the pass, it really helped, White blossom. But now you've got a new offensive coordinator who likes to throw the ball a lot more. We're going to see a healthy Godwin. You've got Mike Evans. Baker Mayfield's kind of feeling it right now. I just don't think Rashad White's going to get the same volume as he got last year. And if that's the case, and these underlying metrics are what we should be believing, I think he's going too high.
I
Bust.
actually, it's ironic though, because I think White last year, a lot of people thought he had some concerns and no one pushed him. That was the big issue, like you mentioned with Edmonds. Like no one pushed him for playing time. I don't know if that's going to happen this year. I think he could get pushed a little more. Like you said, those underlying metrics definitely a concern. So I like that White call as well, Howard.
Do you want me to give one more? Or you want to go back and forth,
I'll go
buddy? Come
back
on.
and forth. I'll give you another one. So this one looked better before he got hurt, but Justin Herbert, I have no faith in him at this point. But now this foot injury, he's going to probably miss the rest of training camp. So it's kind of a chalky pick, I guess, as they say. But still, I was out on him before that happened. I just don't like the situation. You have Harbaugh there now. He's a conservative coach, likes to rely on the run. Also lost his two top playmakers, Keenan Allen, Mike Evans. Also lost Austin Eckler, pass catching back. That's very good as well. I don't like what they replaced him with. They're going to be more run heavy. I don't like the receivers. He's hurt. I just don't want any part of Herbert. The class is so deep at running at quarterback as well. So I'm just completely out on him. I think a lot of people will get enamored by the name and the past production, but I just don't want any part of Justin Herbert this year.
I thought we were getting a good draft value out of him. I really did, because if you look at Greg Roman's offenses a couple of years ago when he was with the Ravens, and his running backs all got hurt, and J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, among that group, and his offense was actually like seventh overall in pass attempts and like sixth overall in passing yards, and so I did think that he was going to, you know, obviously run first and make it happen there. But I think that you were still going to see some things open up for Justin Herbert. I literally just updated my sleepers article over at Fantasy Alarms Draft Guide, citing the plantar fasciitis in the foot. Like,
Mhm.
if you guys are baseball fans at all, remember what happened to Chipper Jones? Like that
Yeah.
ruined his career. So a nagging injury like that does give me some concern there. So I was in, now I'm kind of out. You know who else I'm out on, Jeff? I'm
All
out
right.
on Romo Dunze.
All
Like,
right.
everybody loves the kid, and I get it. He looked phenomenal at the University of Washington. He was the focal point of Ryan Grubb's offense, and it was just they just kept feeding him, feeding him, feeding him. But you come into the NFL right now, you've got DJ Moore, you bring in Keenan Allen, who's like a nice, reliable security blanket, clean route runner type guy. You've got two tight ends, because let's not forget, you brought in Gerald Everett, who, has experience working with Shane Waldron. So you're adding more pass catchers here. And it just kind of bums me out that, like, I feel like Romo Dunze, he's like this year's Jackson Smith Najigba. We loved him coming out of the
I like that.
draft, but this landing spot sucks.
I love the comparison. I think that's a great comparison. You're right. All about landing spot. Like he has Keenan Allen, DJ Moore to compete with. That's awful situation in my eyes, and that's why I like Neighbors lands in such a better spot. In New York, they have nobody to throw to except for him. So that's when we talk about landing spot, Howard. That's a great, 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 great call on the Dunes. I like that. So here's the one where you might have to hold on to your seat, Howard. This is my last bust. I am out on him, and I know a lot of people love him, but it's Derrick Henry. All right. Here's my reasonings. The workload. It scares the heck out of me. He has led the league in carries for the last 5 years. He has 1,549 carries the last 5 seasons. He averages 306 carries per season during that stretch. Just a huge, huge workload. I know he's huge. He's, a beast, and he can do all sorts of great things in the offseason to get himself in great shape. But I'm just scared of the workload. He also averages 4.2 yards per carry last season, which tied his career worst in that area as well. I think the touchdowns could end up carrying him a lot in this offense because it did the same with Gus Edwards in that offense last year when he was getting all the goal line work. But I'm worried about Henry, and I just don't know if I can afford to take him at the end of the second round where he's going in a lot of drafts. And I'll let somebody else deal with him. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. He has one or two more good years left moving to this good offense, but I'm out on Henry.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have to stay in on him. Like, I get it. The workload, we've been talking about the workload for a couple of seasons now. And at some point, the wheels are going to fall off the wagon. His ADP right now here at RT is 22.6. So yeah, back end of that second round. I guess it really kind of depends on who's available to me there. If you look at the ADP, you've got guys like Devon Achan, Kyron Williams going before him. You've got Josh Jacobs, Isaiah Pacheco, Rashad White coming back, after him. So I guess it kind of, to me, it's how you've built. Like if you start wide receiver heavy, let's say
Mhm.
you had the second pick and you took CD Lamb. I don't necessarily know if I would hate on taking Derrick Henry, just again, because it's going to be a high volume, workload for him again, even though Todd Monken, wants to throw the ball a little bit more, and we'll see a lot of passing. I think that I'm still in on him. I'm not. I can't sit and just say no. It's not going to happen. Is it going to be like what he was 3 years ago? No, but is his production going to be that much different from, say, like a James Cook or an Alvin Kamara, who are going, several picks after him? I don't know. I'm on the fence with this one here, Jeff. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, but I'm not buying it fully yet.
You can do that after the season, Howard. You can tell me I'm wrong after the season.
Are we going to keep receipts? Are we
Yeah,
taking
we'll
notes?
do
Or
it.
just
I'm
do a
taking some
recap
notes right
show?
here. There you go. Awesome, though. Hey, this is awesome stuff, Howard. I appreciate you coming on, giving me your top three busts. Always a lot of fun talking with you. And like I said, we're going to keep doing these throughout the off season here, getting ready for the start of the year. So appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me as always, Jeff.
All right, that was our first top three list of the season. It was the top three busts with Howard Bender. I appreciate you watching, and I appreciate you uh, using all your time here at Real Time Fantasy Sports to draft for content, you name it, we offer it here at Real Time Fantasy Sports. Go to rtsports.com and take advantage of everything we have to offer. This has been Jeff Paur with Real Time Fantasy Sports. Have a great day.